Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute pinnacle of individual recognition in the beautiful game, the Ballon d'Or. But we're looking at it through a really specific lens, that eternal tug-of-war between individual brilliance and team trophies. I mean, think about it. If this is supposedly an individual award, why do the achievements of the collective seem to pull all the strings?
So to get us started, how exactly do you lose an individual award after scoring 69 goals? Seriously. Back in 2021, Robert Lewandowski had a season most strikers couldn't even dream of. We're talking 69 goals for Bayern Munich and Poland across all competitions. Literally unplayable. Yet he still narrowly lost out to Lionel Messi, which begs the question, if 69 goals doesn't make you the undisputed best in the world, what on earth are the voters actually looking for?
Well, to understand the whole Lewandowski snub, we've got to look closely at the actual framework of the Ballon d'Or itself. We all know it's the ultimate prize, right? An annual award presented by France Football to honor the player judged to have performed the best over the previous season. But the secret to how it's actually awarded, that lies buried in the fine print given to the journalists who cast the votes.
Okay, let's dive right into this rulebook. When the specialized journalists from the top 100 FIFA-ranked countries cast their votes, they basically follow three main criteria. The first one is pretty obvious: individual performances, decisive and impressive character. But the second criterion, that's the one that changes absolutely everything: team performances and achievements. Also, there's class and fair play. But by explicitly mandating that team success is a primary factor, the system guarantees an individual's ranking is permanently shackled to the success of their squad.
And honestly, there is no better example of how heavily that team weighting can swing the vote than the 2023 award. Let's pit Erling Haaland against Lionel Messi. On one side, you have Haaland. He had an outstanding first season at Manchester City. He bagged 36 Premier League goals, 12 Champions League goals, and he won the ultimate club treble. By literally all domestic metrics, flawless. But on the other side, Messi's club season was much quieter. Sure, but he captured the single biggest team prize in existence, the World Cup. And Messi won the Ballon d'Or. This perfectly highlights what you could call the international trump card, where a monumental team achievement on the world stage just completely overrides record-breaking individual stats and maximum club trophies.
Which brings us to part one of our breakdown, the Champions League gatekeeper. Missing out is fatal.
So, what happens in non-World Cup years? Well, the Champions League dictates pretty much everything. 0. That is a shockingly important number for two incredible players. First, 0 is the number of Champions League finals the legendary Zlatan Ibrahimović ever appeared in, which capped his highest ever Ballon d'Or finish at just 4th. Second, 0 is the number of Champions League goals Gareth Bale scored in his 2015-16 campaign. Bale scored 19 La Liga goals in 23 games and absolutely dragged Wales to a historic Euro semi-final. But because he blanked in Europe, he missed out on the top prize, finishing 6th.
Or take Mohamed Salah. In the 2017-18 season, the guy produced an absolute masterclass. He scored a jaw-dropping 44 goals for Liverpool, but his best numbers went totally begging when it came to the Ballon d'Or. And why? Because Liverpool lost the Champions League final that year. It's crazy to think about, but despite having one of the greatest individual Premier League seasons in history, without the collective lifting that specific European trophy, Salah only managed a 4th-place finish.
All of this builds a really distinct historical pattern. It's like a timeline of infamous snubs. Look at 2010. Wesley Sneijder won the treble and reached a World Cup final, yet missed out. In 2013, Frank Ribéry was the talisman for a treble-winning Bayern Munich, but lost to Ronaldo. And we already talked about the agonizing fates of Salah in 2018 and Lewandowski in 2021. You obviously need elite talent, but without that precise, overwhelming team milestone, the voters simply aren't going to push you over the edge.
And as you might guess, this heavy reliance on team success creates a ton of friction. Wesley Sneijder summed up his feelings regarding those 2010 results in a single, powerful word: robbed. Sneijder has been incredibly vocal about feeling unfairly overlooked that year. And it really adds a human, emotional weight to the cold, hard mechanics of the voting system. When a player literally gives everything, achieves incredible individual feats, but is penalized just because their team lost a final or didn't advance in a specific tournament, it sparks massive debate about what the award truly represents.
Moving on to part 2, the club monopoly. Let's look at how power is concentrated.
So if team success is a prerequisite for individual recognition, it naturally creates a macro-level monopoly. Just look at how stark the concentration of power actually is here.
Real Madrid and Barcelona sit at the very top, tied with 12 all-time wins each. Juventus and AC Milan follow with 8. Playing for a hyper-successful superclub isn't just helpful anymore, it's practically a strict prerequisite. You literally need their infrastructure to provide the team trophies required to validate your individual talent.
And we can zoom out even further to look at entire leagues. 1995 is a super vital year in the history of the Ballon d'Or. That was a year the rules expanded to allow non-European players at European clubs to win. But since that rule change opened up the world, the winners have exclusively come from teams in just 6 countries: England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and most recently the United States following Messi's move to Inter Miami. It just proves how much a player's environment, the league they play in, the sheer dominance of their club, dictates their chances of individual recognition.
All of this data really fuels the critics, many of whom label the Ballon d'Or a glorified popularity contest. And their argument is pretty straightforward. Systematically singling out an individual in a team sport naturally biases voters toward the attackers on the most successful teams. I mean, defenders rarely win. The last one was Fabio Cannavaro all the way back in 2006. Ultimately, if you aren't scoring the goals for the team lifting the biggest trophy at the end of the season, the system is fundamentally rigged against you.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought. We call it an individual award, right? We celebrate the single player holding that golden ball on stage. But based on the criteria, the history, and that unbreakable link to the Champions League and the World Cup, is football's greatest individual award actually a team prize in disguise? Does the title of best in the world fundamentally require you to be a part of the best collective? It's definitely something to think about the next time they open that envelope. Thanks so much for joining me as we explored the fascinating mechanics behind the Ballon d'Or.